Soon it will be light, Fran Kong. You lie down and rest. Continue. I will sit and watch, because this is close to bright.
Fran Cleo said, "Light, light." Fran Kong nodded and leaned back, warming himself against a tree.
If another animal comes in, please wake me up.
Fran Kong said. Before falling asleep again, the hunter sat down and looked at the deer's body. This was to prevent carnivores from sneaking up and stealing the deer's carcass to eat. Not long after the fourth watch had passed, suddenly the sound of insects suddenly quieted down in the night. The hunter could sense it. Regarding the abnormality that occurred, Oswea Frankoi thought, the cry and roar of the forest tiger, that was loud. It was early evening, but the cries could be heard. It was still far away, probably many mountain peaks, or it might be another mountain next to him. It was several tens of kilometers away. The hunter thought in his mind, "So what is it that makes the insects quieter?" The hunter thought. His two ears listened to the sound. His eyes focused on the ground below and around him. There was an abnormal silence. Makes the hunter feel uncomfortable. Immediately, the hunter thought of stories told by old people that this swamp, according to rumors, held many mysteries. The bamboo forest on the edge of this swamp. There may be wild animals abounding, but there are also many ghosts, not few, according to the stories of the elders. In this pond, the time has come for the night of the full moon. Whenever it falls on a Buddhist holy day, there will be music. The sound of drums, the sound of bagpipes, the sound of gongs, and the sound of xylophones are always heard on the wind, even though they are very far from each other from the village. But sometimes it's loud like you're close. Sometimes it's loud like you're far away. People around here believe that this pond, it's probably an old city that fell apart hundreds of years ago. Bamboo forest on the edge of this pond. There used to be hunters from other areas who disappeared. Without a trace, hunters and forest gatherers around here. Many people have encountered many mysteries. Some people have encountered ghosts. Some people have encountered dangerous animals. The hunter and his wife thought in their minds. Immediately, my eyes saw a light coming from the south. Walking in a line, I could hear the sound of muffled conversation. It was loud from time to time. The hunter saw this and woke up the hunter.
Is there something wrong?
Fran Kong whispered and asked. Fran Kong moved to get up. The eyes were staring. Go to the light from the south, following Fran Cleo's hints. Many people, dozens of them, walk in a line. Some carried children, some led children. The sounds of chatter, laughter, and whispers. It was loud from time to time. Strange. Even though we walked closer, the voices of those people were still incomprehensible when the person walking in front came to the carcass of a deer that was lying there. Suddenly, startled, we retreated. The rest of the people stopped following each other. Then there were cries, commotions that were incomprehensible. It sounded louder, but some people walked in and looked out of curiosity, then backpedaled. It did this a few times. Some people kept silent and watched. As for the little children, some people were frightened. They ran, screamed, and shouted back and forth. But the confusion soon subsided. Those people walked away, avoiding them, focusing head towards the pond. Then the sounds of talking slowly fade away. The two hunters sat and watched the scene silently. Soon there was the sound of wild fowl, singing and chirping. Then silver light and golden light began to shine on the horizon. When there is light until you can see the handwriting, the two hunters. So he climbed down from the tree. When his feet touched the ground, the two hunters suddenly smelled the curse of a faded tiger floating on the wind.
The smell curses the tiger. I suspect the striped one might come. It's circling around here. The striped one might be near, close. When the morning approaches, it must smell like deer.
Fran Cleo said. But Song Fran was never careless. He walks slowly, slowly, towards the deer carcass. The eyes of the two hunters surveyed the area, checking for traces. The hunter pointed at the ground near the bushes and around the deer carcass. The hunter looked around.
Those are the footprints of Ai Lai, but, hey, why were there no footprints of the people last night? Why were there only wild boar footprints? They were all full.
Fran Gong mentioned the topic.
That's right, there are only wild boar tracks. So that means the people we saw walking last night were wild boars. That striped thing must have sneaked up and followed that herd of wild boars.
Fran Cleo answered. Fetch, then the two hunters helped each other to find vines to tie the deer's legs to. They cut bamboo trunks to make poles for carrying the boar. When they had the vines and bamboo, the two hunters went together to carry the deer and headed back. To the village, Fran Cleo answered. The two of them walked together. When they were tired, they rested under the shade of a tree. After recovering from exhaustion, the two hunters continued their journey, until arriving. The forest edge of the village was late in the afternoon. The two hunters hurriedly walked together and soon arrived at the litter in front of the hunter's house. When resting until tiredness disappears, then they helped each other dissect the deer. The two divided the meat and organs into a boil. When it was cooked, it was placed on a tray and given to the forest prince. Thank you for your kindness in sending animals. Come give it to me. Thank you for helping protect us from dangerous animals. The two of them worked together to dissect it, arrange it, and give some of it to their neighbors. When all the divisions were complete, Fran Gong separated and returned to his own home. When Fran Gong returned, the sunlight shone down and hit the forest. The golden light of the evening began to fade through the large trees. Creates a shadow across the ground. It is covered with dry leaves. The area where Fran Cleo lived was a small village. There were houses built far apart from each other. There were dozens of houses. Each house is built from wood and has a thatched roof with leaves. It looks simple and blends in with nature. Surrounding the village is full of large trees and bamboo groves that grow densely. In the evening, the sound of birds chirping and chirping. It comes from the tops of bamboo groves and tall trees. It is a sign of the end of the day. Then the cries of koi koi that we heard. Where did they come from? How did they come to live in the forest beside the pond? And that tiger, secretly walking along the wild boar procession. Is it a normal tiger or a ghost tiger? When it came in, we didn't know why. Fran Gong's voice still echoed in his ears before Fran Gong asked to leave. Fran thought about it in his heart. But suddenly I had to panic. Brother Cleo, hurry up and take a shower. Then come and eat, brother. It's getting late. A sweet, clear voice from the young wife, Sao Ob, calls out to the hunter. After eating, The hunter came out and sat on the front porch of the house. The eyes see the last light of the day. Gradually, it fades away and disappears on the horizon. The coo sound of crickets began to play, a lullaby, light oil lamp. From each house they began to shine brightly, one by one, into small, small, warm lights in the midst of darkness. When darkness covered the land and the forest, quietness came to take its place. There were only sounds of insects and nocturnal animals, loud, heard from time to time. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Thank you everyone who pressed like, pressed share, and pressed follow. Please follow the next episode.